This episode is brought to you by Quaker Rage Oatmeal Stout. When you're too nice to show how angry you are, have yourself a Quaker Rage.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Films and Fermentation. This is episode 61, where we are covering summertime cinema. Our podcast. You can tell this is the first time I've done it. Our podcast centers around movies and alcohol. I'm Kevin.
I'm Leo.
I'm Mike.
And in this episode, we're going to talk about our favorite summer vacation movies. Now, guys, these are not films that are centered around, these are only films that are centered around summer vacation or take place during the summer months. They're not films that were released during the summer, and they're not, the MCU, which is typically only released during the summer, or other summer blockbusters. Okay, so these are just, beachy movies or hiking-y movies or vacation-y movies or anything else with an E on the end of it movies. We want our listeners to remember that you can drop us an email or visit linktree.com/films and fermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links.
Very good.
Right. Oh, thank you.
I give it a B plus because you missed the slogan.
Yeah, because I was trying to do my own thing, and then I was like, oh shit. Oh well.
We're three friends who get shit-faced while talking shit about movies.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it's oh, it is up there.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yes, it is. Okay.
All you had to do is read what I wrote.
Man. All right. Well,
Until
guys.
you get to the email part, and you guys ... He's like,
Yeah. Yes, the email is filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. So,
all right. I'll get it next time.
That's fine. It's fine. I figured, it's episode 61. I should give other people a chance at this point. It's 60 episodes where I've done the intro. Like, I want to spread the wealth a little bit.
well,
What's that, Mike?
I have a segment.
You have a segment, okay. Which I've stolen from you on occasion too. So you're free to do the intro too if you want one day. So let's talk about our drinks tonight, gentlemen. I will go first, I think, since
This is just almost done.
Since mine is almost done, I'm probably going to get more soon. I said since we are doing a summertime episode, I needed a true summertime drink. So I made myself a strawberry daiquiri.
Ooh,
So
must be better than strawberry margaritas that are, a couple years old.
Yeah, it's actually a strawberry banana daiquiri because I used frozen strawberries and bananas. Some ice, some strawberry syrup mix, some lemon and lime juice, and a whole lot of Bacardi.
Nice.
Sounds good.
I think I put too much Bacardi in it.
Well, I have a feeling about that because mine is called a fruit punch margarita.
Ooh.
It is made with Smoky Mountain Punch moonshine, Smoky Mountain margarita moonshine, and Sprite.
Ooh.
A lot of moonshine.
It is a lot of moonshine.
Somebody's leaving for vacation this weekend.
Yes, sir. And I'm working with Pat tomorrow, so
so you can have a hangover and he can do all the work. Kev, what you got going?
Guys, I am sporting something different from my refrigerator, something my sister-in-law brought over, weeks ago. But they're definitely summer, cool, relaxing, light summer beverages. So, gotta crack it open. It is, I've had a couple of these now. Whoops. It is called Bevy Long Drink, and it is a sparkling citrus refresher. Okay, It is a product of Finland, I think. Hold on, I don't. Well, it says product of the USA, but there's a lot of Finnish stuff on here. Finland. There's a little gnome on the can. Gnome. And this one tastes like grapefruit. And I can, this is something I could definitely just pound down on the beach or by the pool or whatever. It's 5.8% alcohol by volume. It's a little bit different from the beers that I typically go for, but everything in my fridge is still stouts and porters. So
All
cheers,
right.
gentlemen.
Sounds good. We all actually hit the theme tonight, it sounds like.
Mhm.
At least tried.
We tried. So Mike, why don't you take it away?
This day in film history. In 1965, Gene Roddenberry had 16 suggested names for the captain of Star Trek. They included Hannibal, Timber, Flag, and Raintree.
Actually, I was curious about this, so I looked it up and I found the whole list of names.
Oh, you found the whole list? I did not find the whole list.
I found the whole list. I found it on Reddit. On Reddit, there was a thread on Reddit about the alternative names for Captain Kirk. And it says the name for Kirk wasn't decided until 1965 in a memo written by Gene Roddenberry to researcher Kellum DeForest on 18th of May, 1965. 16 names were under consideration. They were Captain January, Captain Flag, Captain Drake, Captain Christopher, Captain Thorpe, Captain Richard, Captain Patrick, Captain Raintree, Captain Boone, Captain Hudson, Captain Timber, Captain Hamilton, Captain Hannibal, Captain Neville, Captain North, and the name that was eventually chosen, Captain Kirk. It does not say why Kirk was the name that they chose, but I like to think it's because it's probably the most original out of all of them.
And the original ship was supposed to be called not the Enterprise, but the Yorktown.
The Yorktown, which is a name
which they did use, yeah.
Yeah,
They
it's a
did use
name.
the
Yeah,
Yorktown.
in a couple episodes, I feel like they had a Yorktown ship. I always like hearing the names of the other ships in the show.
Mhm.
They always had like
Yorktown.
the Yorktown, the Reliant,
Yeah.
the
Excelsior.
Excelsior. That was the one from Star Trek 6, I think.
Yep.
It was the one that Sulu was the captain of.
Constellation, which
The Constellation,
was in Doomsday Machine.
the Voyager. Yeah, it's kind of cool. What's your fun drink fact that you have for us tonight?
Tonight, I'm going to tell you about an American craft brewery destination.
Okay.
Russian Water Brewing Company, Santa Rosa, California. This brewery started in 1997, growing out of Corbel Champagne cellars. The brewmaster and his wife took over in 2002, and since then has been known as one of the most innovative breweries in the country. The brewery is probably best known for the double IPA called Pliny the Elder, which has a rabid following all over the world. Another standout is the single IPA called Blind Pig.
I've heard of Pliny the Elder. I've heard of this historical person named Pliny the Elder, but I've also feel like I've heard of the beer before too. I almost feel like I might have had it before.
A double IPA?
I'm looking it up. Hold up. I try things. Just because I'm not a fan of IPA doesn't mean I wouldn't try one once in a while. Let me see here. Pliny the Elder.
Pardon moi.
Yeah, I did have it. I've had one of these before.
What did you score it as?
I think I gave it a 3,
Huh.
which is good for me, especially since it's an IPA.
This is a double IPA.
Yeah, that's a high rating for me. I was at a beer tasting that a buddy of mine had one time, and he had gotten them, and he like travels for his job, so he'll like pick things up and bring them home and stuff when he can, or have it shipped to his house. So he had like a beer tasting one night, and I'm pretty sure that's probably where I had this, because I can't think otherwise of where I would have had a California beer from.
Oh, speaking of shipping to your house, no, it just reminded me because I know you had, or your mother-in-law had
Yes.
these beers sent to your house from North Carolina. The Weeping Radish is closed.
Get the fuck out.
The owner sold, and the new owners have not reopened it yet, and that's supposed to be January.
I'm hoping they reopen. I hope that's not like a
That was the plan, is to reopen what I read in the article.
Oh wow, that sucks because that was an awesome brewery.
It was.
Yeah,
And the food was awesome too.
I'm glad I got to try it before before that happened.
Poor
All
Chad.
right. So notes from the last show. Since we did so much talking about Harrison Ford and the roles that he did, it was funny because the very next day on Google, on my Google news feed, there was an article from Ranker about roles that Harrison Ford turned down. And I'm like, really need the internet to stop fucking listening to me and like, you know, giving me
No,
suggestions.
we need the internet to listen more to our podcast.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, listen to the podcast, but stop sending me suggestions like a creep. So here are some roles that
Stalker
Harrison.
much?
Wait a minute. Our listeners just sent us a whole bunch of things. You know?
No, that's different. Like I asked the listeners to send us.
Those
stuff.
are human beings,
Yes.
Michael. Human
ask,
beings, not algorithms.
I didn't ask the Google robots to send me shit. So anyway, they did send me something useful though. These are roles that Harrison Ford turned down. The first one was Oscar Schindler in Schindler's List.
Okay.
I think that would have been interesting with him as Oscar.
It would have
Schindler,
been.
but
Yeah.
he turned it down, and it was actually kind of a noble reason. He felt that his star power wasn't right for the film at the time and would have taken away from the lessons of the film.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds braggadocious to say your star power, but he did have star power
Sure.
in 1993 still. So I mean,
Absolutely.
it makes sense to me.
And I think that's using his knowledge of his star power
Mm-hmm.
and making a better decision, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was also offered the role in Jurassic Park. And what's weird about this one is Schindler's List and Jurassic Park were released in the same exact year. So he could have starred in one or the other or both in the same year.
Neither.
That would have been strange. He turned down Jurassic Park, but never really said why. So, you know, he was offered the role of Captain Tyne in The Perfect Storm, a role that went to George Clooney. Have either of you seen The Perfect Storm?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think it's like an okay disaster flick. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the best.
I thought it was overhyped on the, you know.
Oh, they pushed the shit out of it.
Pushed the shit out of it. It was overhyped, and when we watched it, it was like, oh.
And I mean, it was okay, but like, and
yeah, it was like, oh, okay.
And I think George Clooney was well fit for the lead role.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know if Harrison Ford would have filled that out too well. He was offered a role in a movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which starred Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. Mm-hmm. He was offered the Val Kilmer role. Again, this is a movie that I've seen. It's a really funny movie. It's like kind of like a dark comedy about two guys who are like private detectives. And after seeing it with the actors who are in it, it's one of those things where like I love Harrison Ford, but I don't know if he would have been right for this role, because it takes somebody with a certain type of comedic timing to do the role that he was going to be playing.
Right.
He was offered a role in The Thin Red Line. That role went to Nick Nolte. So he was turning down the role basically to be like the guy who was the head of this battalion in this war film. Again, it doesn't say why he turned it down. And the weirdest one of all, he was offered the role of Curtis McCabe in Vanilla Sky, a role that was played by Tom Cruise. It's an odd movie and an odd role to think Harrison Ford would be in, because also like there's an age gap there too between Cruise and Ford.
Just a little one.
Just a little one. That would, yeah, but it's enough that it's like kind of weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then the one movie he turned down that he was sorry he did afterwards, he was offered the role of Bob Barnes in the movie Syriana. Syriana is a political thriller. The role went to George Clooney, who ended up winning the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his role in that film. And so Ford was kind of disappointed after he turned that one down, because it might have been his Oscar film.
Question. Now, you had mentioned there were two other films that Steven Spielberg wanted him in and that he turned down. Is Indiana Jones the only thing he's done with Spielberg? I'm thinking it is, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was only. I don't know if Spielberg might have been like a producer or something on like Ender's Game. But it definitely was the indie movies that he produced that he says here in the Jurassic Park one, according to a conversation between the actor and director, Harrison Ford blamed Spielberg for only casting him in indie movies. But Spielberg was quick to remind the actor that he turned down Jurassic Park, which was not an indie movie. But you can kind of see the Harrison Ford features in Jurassic Park when you look at Alan Grant's
wearing the
costume,
hat,
the
Yeah.
fedora,
the khaki
the outfit,
pants,
the khaki pants. Yeah, even some of like the mannerisms and the situations he gets
Brown
involved in.
jacket.
Yeah, they were kind of like written for Ford. And
yeah.
but then again, I like Sam Neill. I thought he was really good in that film. So I'm
Me
not
too.
going to complain about that too much. I have a couple more little things here. Did either of you see the She-Hulk trailer for Disney Plus?
I have. It was
It's called
all over Facebook.
It's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
Yes.
It's a limited series, like comedy, I guess. They're making it look kind of like a comedy. And no, I love the actress in it, Tatiana Maslany. She was in a show called Orphan Black, and in Orphan Black, she played 9 different characters, and it was an amazing show. And she won an Emmy for it. And I like that they chose her for this role. But then I saw the CGI, and it looked like
so bad.
No, it looked like Shrek.
It's so bad.
It was so. I understand that sometimes when they release trailers, the CGI is unfinished.
Yeah.
Often. So I'm hoping that's the case, because if it's not, that is a disappointing. Because you look at Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk in the trailer, and it looks great. It looks like Infinity War and Endgame. And then you see her transition into She-Hulk, and it's like Princess Fiona in Shrek.
I mean, a little sexier of a body.
All I could think of. Well, that's all I could think of when I was looking at her. Like she looks like Princess Fiona. Like she looks like Princess Fiona's ogre face with her human body.
Yes.
I also saw the final trailer for Obi-Wan.
That was good too.
It was pretty good. It wasn't too much different from the first 2 trailers, aside from the tease of Darth Vader at the end. Yeah, and a little bit more with the Inquisitors. And then I just now, before we started the show, watched the season 3 trailer for Umbrella Academy.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
It just released today. I just saw it before we started recording, and the first 2 seasons were pretty bonkers. This season looks extra bonkers.
Well, I know that they wrote in her transition, his transition into the 3rd season, and I think that's kind of cool, actually.
I think they're going to use something about the time travel that they did to do the transition, because a couple times in the trailer she's still a girl, and then in other parts of the trailer you see her as he is now as the transition. But now you have the 2 academies, the Sparrow and the Umbrella,
right?
And they already teased a couple of like the fight scenes between them. It looks pretty amazing. And of course Klaus is still my favorite character, and he had some great moments in the trailer already. So the time travel kid, or the kid that could teleport, 5. I say kid, but he's supposed to be like what, a 50-year-old in a 16-year-old body or something. So he's explaining to them at one point, it's the 3 brothers. He's explaining to them that if they see themselves in this alternate reality, like what they're supposed to do. He doesn't say like what they're going to do, but you get the sense that he wants them to like kind of kill them if they see their other selves in this reality. Like, he's an assassin and he's all about killing. But before he could say anything, Diego and Klaus, so he goes, if you see yourselves in this reality, what I need you to do, and Klaus is like, have sex with them. And the brother that's got the gorilla body, I can't think of his name right now.
Luther.
He turns to him and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" And he goes, "Come on, tell me you wouldn't want to hop on that giant Luther body horse." So I mean, it looks just as bonkers as the first 2 seasons. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Good Lord.
There are a lot of shows, man. I'm happy that the shows are starting in the summer. A lot of these shows, because it's like now I can watch them.
Yeah.
Like
It's so long that some of these have been off too.
I know, like Stranger
Especially
Things.
on Netflix.
Stranger Things starting soon. I don't know.
Week, right?
What's that?
27th.
27th. Yeah, you got Obi-Wan next week.
Yep.
You got I watched the McFarlane show, the Orville.
Yep.
The third season is premiering on Hulu in June. I'm looking forward to that. There's a show I watch on HBO called Barry. It stars Bill Hader. He plays an assassin who decides he wants to be an actor. And there were 2 seasons so far, and they were really, really good. And the third season just started, so I started watching that, but I haven't got a chance to like really get into it. So there's all these shows starting in the summertime, and I'm like, that's awesome. I can actually have time to watch some shows now.
Oh.
Except Mike, he still has to work.
Well, the other day I was
Kevin and I will be watching them from the pool this summer.
Pretty much.
The other day I was down in the basement doing some stuff, and I decided to have some background TV. And I went down a freaking rabbit hole.
What were you watching?
Walker.
Who?
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger.
Not the Texas Ranger, just Walker.
Oh, the new one.
The new one.
The reboot. It's the reboot starring Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. Yep. Yeah. Is it
watched
good?
The whole first. It's okay. And I've already watched the whole first season and probably a third of the second. It's just okay.
I'm gonna start watching it when they decide to bring in Chuck Norris as like his uncle or something.
Well, here's the funny thing: the person that plays his dad played his grandfather in Supernatural.
Oh, Pledge
Skinner. Yeah.
yeah, Skinner from X-Files.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome everybody back to Films and Fermentation, episode 61, Summertime Cinema. Well, you took a quick little break there to refill our drinks.
Summertime.
Somebody is going to have a hangover tomorrow, and that somebody is probably me. Because I am drinking some rum-heavy daiquiris right now.
Woohoo.
Oh, man. So our main segment this evening, we are talking about summertime cinema. And as Kevin said in the intro, we are not talking about movies that were released in the summertime, because God knows that would be a hell of a list. We are talking about just movies that are based on the summer, occur in the summer, or have some sort of summer-related theme to them. So as we did last week, I went on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and asked for some user submissions. I asked them, what is your favorite summertime flick or your go-to summertime flick? I also asked people to give us some drink suggestions as well. I didn't do that the first time around, and I thought, why not try it this time around, see what happens? So I said, what is your go-to summertime drink as well? We've only had one person who gave us a drink suggestion, but that's okay. We did have numerous people give us movie suggestions. So like last week, we have a pretty decent list here. So we have @WatchLister on Twitter. That is actually the name of the Twitter feed. It's called WatchLister, and they do a lot involving movies and podcasts and things like that. And they suggested 2 summer films, The Way, Way Back and The Kings of Summer. The Way, Way Back I have seen. It's a pretty good film. It's from 2013. It's pretty short watch, only an hour and 43 minutes. It interestingly enough stars Steve Carell as an asshole, which is something a little different for him. But it's a solid cast. You got Steve Carell, Toni Collette, Allison Janney, Sam Rockwell, Maya Rudolph, Anna Sophia Robb. So it's a pretty solid cast, and a lot of other actors who you've seen in other things. And it's about a shy 14-year-old boy named Duncan who goes on summer vacation with his mom, her overbearing boyfriend, which is the boyfriend is played by Steve Carell, and her boyfriend's daughter. Having a rough time fitting in, Duncan finds an unexpected friend, Owen, played by Sam Rockwell, the manager of a water park in the place where he stays. And like I said, it's a quick watch. It's an okay film. Nothing like groundbreaking, you know. It does have a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's a pretty good rating. It's, you know, pretty popular. Kev, you seen this before?
I have. I really enjoyed it. I like how he comes out of his shell to, I guess, the neighbor one of the girls in the neighborhood, and no, it was very good. And Sam Rockwell does an awesome job when he puts his comedic chops on. He does a pretty good job this time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he's a good actor in general.
Mm-hmm.
And he is an Oscar winner as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like he started as a comedic actor, and like the first role I remember him in was in Galaxy Quest.
Yep.
He was the guy who was afraid he was going to
Guy.
die. He was Guy. His name was Guy.
He was Guy.
And so
one of the first movies I remember him in was The Green Mile.
Yes, he was in that. He's in that. He's
Mm-hmm.
in a movie. He's in a movie called Moon. It's a really interesting sci-fi film where he plays a man who works on a base on the moon, and he is alone. The whole time he works there.
Mm-hmm.
And his only companion is the computer that he can talk to. And then there's a really like creepy, very sad like twist ending to it. And it's a really, really interesting watch because it's basically just him acting by himself in the entire film.
Oh wow!
Wow.
So, yeah, he's a great actor, Sam Rockwell. This is a newer in the sense that it's 2013, so it's not too old. It's only about 9 years old at this point, and I've only seen it once. It's a movie I kind of have to see again. Yeah. The second one that Watchlister suggested is called The Kings of Summer. This also came out in 2013. It's another pretty short film, only an hour and a half. I have not seen this one. I'm not too familiar with it. I feel like I've heard of it. I heard the name before, but I haven't seen it. It's three teenage friends in the ultimate act of independence decide to spend their summer building a house in the woods and living off the land. I recognize one actor in it because he was in Ender's Game. His name was Moises Arias, plays a character named Biagio. He was Bonzo in Ender's Game. Mm-hmm. And Erin Moriarty is in it. She's Starlight from The Boys.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's in it as well. But I don't really recognize anybody else in it. Megan Mullally's in it. Alison Brie. So there's a couple people in here I recognize, but it's not a movie I've seen. But from the trailer I watched, it looked pretty interesting, and it's 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's got a pretty decent rating. So I might have to put this one on the watch list for this summer and check it out. FIZ Gaming on Facebook said, I have got two in mind. First would be Blended, an absolutely hilarious movie I recommend if you have not seen it. I have seen it, and I guarantee you Mike has not seen it because it stars Adam Sandler.
I'm usually okay with Adam Sandler, especially the Adam Sandler Drew Barrymore combo, but I think I may have only caught bits and pieces of this because this is an Adam Sandler Drew Barrymore combo, right?
It is.
Yeah, and, I've liked The Wedding Singer. I've liked 50 First Dates. Yeah,
it's pretty funny. It's okay. It's the last Sandler Barrymore combo that they've done. It's not. I would recommend like 50 First Dates before I would recommend this one. I think.
I was considering putting that on here too as a summer movie.
I think
but
that probably counts as a summer movie as well.
Would it? Okay, because I figure it's just Hawaii, but still,
it's Hawaii.
Summery.
But I think it takes place during the summer. I don't remember too well. Because the whole movie he's talking about going on his research trip in the winter.
I got you.
So it must be the summer that he's like building his boat and everything. But the Blended is it's Sandler and Barrymore have really good chemistry together, so it's fun to watch them. The kids could be a little overbearing at times. And he did another movie with Jennifer Aniston where they go to Hawaii together. And I get the two movies kind of confused a little bit because both movies involve interactions with the other's kids.
Right.
And it's like, which one's this one? Is this the one where the kid pretends she's British? Oh no, that's the one with Jennifer Aniston. I don't even remember the name of that movie. The other movie that FIZ Gaming suggested is Cheaper by the Dozen 2. He says, strange assortment, I know, but I love these movies. I've seen Cheaper by the Dozen 2, and I've seen the first one. I like the first one. First one is pretty funny. It's Steve Martin, Bonnie Hunt, and their 12 kids. And it's a remake of a Disney film from, I want to say, like the 70s.
I don't know if it was a Disney film from the 70s. I know it
I know it's
was
a remake.
old. Yes, it is definitely a remake, but I think it might have just been like an MGM. Because my mother loved the original. Cheaper by the dozen. Yeah, 1950.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
it was
didn't realize it was,
1950.
didn't realize it was that old.
Yep, it's yep, it's
Cheaper
an
by
old
the
movie.
Dozen. Gene Crane. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that
Mhm.
old. I thought it was a little more.
Looked in
I might
the-
be confusing it with a different movie. But yeah, that's.
I
thought
think
that
you're
was older.
confusing it maybe with The Parent Trap, which Disney did on 2 different
Or
occasions.
Father of the Bride, which is another Steve Martin remake.
Right.
Yeah.
But
But
Cheaper by the Dozen was good.
Cheaper by the Dozen was funny. Cheaper by the Dozen 2 takes the family to a campground where they spend their summer vacations, and most of the movie centers on a rivalry between Steve Martin and his 12 kids and Eugene Levy and his like 9 kids, and how they compete in these like family summer games at this campground that they stay at and stuff.
Hey,
As,
Lee, I
you
think
know,
I know
so,
where your confusion came from.
what
Because Disney just remade Cheaper by the Dozen.
really?
They did, yes.
made
They
another
did a
one?
Disney Plus version.
Yes.
Okay, great. Because that needed another one.
Yeah, I think it stars the guy that was in Scrubs.
The funniest thing I remember from Cheaper by the Dozen, the first film, is actually not from the movie itself. It's from Knocked Up with Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl. And so in the movie, Seth Rogen gets Katherine Heigl knocked up, and he's all scared because she decides to keep the baby, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. And there's a scene where him and Paul Rudd are in Vegas, and they do mushrooms, and he starts having a bad trip. And he's watching Cheaper by the Dozen on the TV, and he's like, "How is this funny? This is a fucking nightmare." And he's like having a bad trip while he's watching it. What do we got next here? We got Doug Jorda on Facebook. Doug was one of our contributors from last episode as well. Doug gave us, of course, The Great Outdoors, which is one of the movies on our list later. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth. National Lampoon's original vacation film, which is also on the list. So we'll talk about that later. And one that we did not have on our list, but is a summer movie. It's American Pie 2.
Yes, it is. I forgot all about that.
The second film, the guys decide to get a beach house down the shore and spend like their last summer together before they go back to college and all that stuff. A lot of the same shenanigans happened in the first film.
Stifler's Lake House.
Stifler's Lake House. You have Jim and his obsession with Nadia again. It's the movie where Jim realizes he's in love with Michelle, the band geek, played by Allison Hannigan. Some of the usual like nonsense stuff happens in it. It's still a pretty funny movie. And there's a scene in it that always makes me laugh, and it's Stifler and the other guys get a job painting houses during the summer. And they're painting this house of these 2 girls, these 2 hot women that live there, and they're pretty sure that they're lesbians. And they're trying to find out, so they start like raiding the girls' bedrooms and looking for stuff. And Stifler opens up a drawer and finds like a drawer full of dildos, and he goes, "Guys, look, lesbian artifacts." It's just something about the way he says it just cracks me up every time.
Lesbian artifact.
Doug is also the only person who gave us a drink suggestion for this week. He said his summer flick go-to when he's watching summer flicks is Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
A note on that, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So later on in one of the other episodes, because I have everything sorted out in my pages, I will talk about Sierra Nevada Brewing Company.
Okay, so you have
California, and one of their beers is called Wild Little Things Slightly Sour Ale.
Okay. So I have not had this one before. I'm looking at it on tap though. It has an overall rating of 3.63 out of 5 stars from the people who have sampled it, and it's close to 500,000 people who have checked in on this one. I know
it's out of Chico, California. So
yeah, well, I have one friend who has tried it, and that's my friend Frank, who I talked about before, who
travels,
who has a beer every night from different places and has like 1,500 check-ins on Untapped. He gave it a 4.75 out of 5.
Okay,
so it's a pretty decent rating. So it's if I ever come across it, Doug, if you're listening, I'm going to definitely pick it up and give it a try. We have Terrell Crouch on Facebook, who suggested Midsummer, which I have on the second list tonight, which is the horror drama category.
Oh, that movie makes me think is sick just thinking about it.
It makes your skin crawl. Then it's a fucked up movie.
It's fucked up.
Teresa Foskey on Facebook suggested Solar Babies, which I had mentioned in the pre-show. I don't know if it's a summer film. It's about a post-apocalyptic Earth with no water, so the Earth is turned into a desert. So in a way, it's sort of a perpetual summer film.
So it's the opposite of Waterworld.
It's and it's about a group of kids who are in some sort of like, I want to say it's like some sort of like sports league or something, where they like, God, I saw this movie this movie came out in the 80s. It obviously with a title like Solar Babies. It came out in 1986, and that's probably the last time I watched it. In a post-apocalyptic future ruled by the military, a group of renegade teenage orphans look for a legendary orb called the Bodai that can supposedly bring rain back to a dried up Earth. And they're called Solar Babies because they do a lot of skating in the film. Very cheesy film from the 80s.
Oh, it's like roller derby.
Except without like the prizes at the end, you know.
Yeah. I think I saw this when I was young too. I just don't know why. I remember the costume.
I remember like it's I definitely saw it in the 80s and probably haven't seen it since then.
Yeah. I mean the costumes look very familiar.
Yeah. Bill Van Beagle, I hope I'm saying your name right, Bill, on Facebook suggested Summer Rental, which is a John Candy classic, and that one is on the list as well. So some of the ones that were on the list we will definitely be getting into now. So as I said, this is all about summer films, and we divided it into 3 lists for tonight. The first list is the comedy category, so this is the best comedy summer films. We have a horror/drama category. There weren't too many for either one, so I kind of clumped them together. And what I called
that wasn't me.
That was your soundboard.
That was in your soundboard?
No.
That wasn't me either. And the last one is summer movie misses. So these are movies that take place in the summertime, but kind of suck. So we'll get talking on these now. So best summer film is the first one we got on the list here. Doug Dorda on Facebook suggested it, but we already had it on the list, and I had it at number 1. I don't normally do this as like a ranking thing, but I would probably call this my favorite summer vacation movie of all time, and that is The Great Outdoors.
You got to twist the paper. Twist the paper.
Starring the great John Candy, Dan Aykroyd. It's a movie I can watch. Annette Bening is her first movie role.
Wow.
I can watch this all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is like one that I have already like saved, so that if I need something to watch that's funny and I can't find something on TV or whatever to watch, Great Outdoors goes on, because I know I'm going to laugh when I watch it every time.
Faster. What do you say? Go faster.
Go faster. Go faster. It touched me. It's been touching you for 15 years. You never yelled before.
Big Red Chase. Big Red Chase.
66
times. In the head.
This is a great summer movie because it's not one that takes place at a beach. It's not one that takes place by the ocean. It's one that takes place in the mountains, which you don't see too many summer movies that are based in the mountains.
Yeah, and I think I want to say it's like a lake in Canada or something, and they're from like Chicago, so they go to this like Canadian side lake or whatever for vacation, and then Dan Aykroyd shows up and fucks things up for John Candy and his family. God, I love it's such a quotable movie too. And there's so many scenes in that film are so quotable. I remember talking about it before the old 96er. When I was a kid going to a restaurant and I got a chicken parm that was hanging off the plate, and I yelled out, "Look, it's the old 69er" in the middle of the restaurant. Not knowing
what are you talking about? There's nothing left on that place but gristle and
fat.
fat.
Hey, let me make you a deal. If we get a dessert down them too, can we get a couple of free hats for the kids? I'll be right back. I got to go introduce Mr. Thick Dick to Mr. Urinal Cake. So many many quotable lines, man. Not to mention I've seen it so many times that, I just pretty much have it all memorized anyway.
Yeah.
Why does Chet's
This is
kids
not
look at
very
him like
good.
he's Zeus and my kids look at me like I'm a rack of yard tools at Sears? And of course, we had that wonderful night at the Chamonix Creek Brewery where we went to watch Great Outdoors at the brewery.
Couldn't hear a thing.
Doesn't matter because we can quote the whole movie anyway. So that's definitely our number one here. Number two is the original National Lampoon's Vacation.
Holiday Road.
I was considering using that as the intro song for this episode, but I feel like I've used it before.
I think we did that on road trips.
Yeah, and also, and I was also thinking of using Olaf's song from Frozen, "Summertime." In summer, but I'm afraid of getting sued by Disney, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use it. We don't have to be a real. We don't have to be. We don't have to be a really popular podcast for Disney to find us.
That's true.
So,
Hell, the
National
internet
Lampoon's
will rat us
Vacation.
out.
Yeah. I didn't put European Vacation down on here. Well, that's a pretty funny one too.
Look, it's Big Ben.
Yeah. But if you want to talk about classics, you got to talk about the original Vacation.
Yep.
Supposedly John Candy took the place of an actor who was supposed to play the role of the security guard at Wally World at the end, and got like $1 million for one day worth of work or something like that because
Nice.
they needed him like last minute to come in and do it. I don't remember who the actor was, but he replaced somebody on it. Classic Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo. It begins the running gag of how the son and daughter switch who's older and who's younger in each movie.
Yeah. They never have the same actor and actress play them.
Yeah. Third one on the list. God, I haven't seen this one in forever, but I remember when I first saw it as a kid, watching it like all the time. I don't know what it was when I was a kid, but I thought this was the funniest movie. Weekend at Bernie's.
That's a great one.
It came out on July 4th weekend, and it was only supposed to be released for one night. It was
Really?
like, I remember the promotion. I remember it vividly. Like they promoted it as one night only on July 4th. And the movie did so much better than they expected it to that they ended up having to keep it in theaters and it had a longer run.
Wow.
And then it became a, like a VHS super hit. It was one of those movies that everybody rented. I don't remember much about it other than Bernie.
He was dead.
I mean, the Bernie was the dead guy. They were pretending he was alive so that they could use the summer home. He was killed by gangsters or whatever, and they have to like get away from them at some point in the movie.
And the assassin keeps trying to kill him, but because they're carting around the corpse, he keeps thinking that he's alive because that's the running gag. No one can know that he's dead.
So the movie starred Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy, who were two big 80s actors. Andrew McCarthy, of course, was in the movie Mannequin, another classic 80s B movie. But then he got Bernie Lomax is played by an actor named Terry Kaiser. I was kind of jealous of him in the film. I'm like, this has to be like the easiest acting job ever. You're just playing a dead guy. But then you watch the physical comedy, and it had to be so difficult to be physically comedic and not be stiff. Have to be so loose that you still look like a dead guy while you're doing it.
Not be stiff when playing a stiff.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing physical performance when you think about it.
Rigor Morris had to set it at some point.
Yeah, right. It's suspension of disbelief. That's why they were able to do a Weekend at Bernie's 2. The next one I threw on the list.
I love this.
This movie has a special place in my heart, even though it's not a great movie.
Oh, come on.
Something about it I love. And I made Katie watch it with me recently, and she was like, why did we just watch this? Revenge of the Nerds 2.
Electric violin thing going.
Cav, you all right? We keep seeing your fan for some reason.
I have a fan.
I know.
Even so often,
We've seen it a lot. How many drinks have you had so far?
I'm only on my second, but this is one by Arizona. you know, the iced tea people. And it's not very good. It's a sunrise hard seltzer. It's lemon flavored. It kind of smells like their tea. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a hard seltzer, you know, Rhode Island, Long Island iced tea, but
Like a half
it's
and
not
half.
very good. It's not as good as the Bevy.
Mm.
The Bevy was good. Bevy.
God, we're like all over the place tonight. I keep seeing your fan. Mike keeps standing up or something because I keep seeing his shirt. This
I'm
is
just-
Oh, that's bad.
this is riveting viewing for anybody who's watching the YouTube version of this. Well, you got dark fast. Kevin, you were like all lit up earlier. You had the J.J. Abrams sun flare going.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to move my brightness, because every time I have it on the top, you guys on the top screen, I don't see Kevin at all. He's like dark. He's like black.
You can look into my neighbors across the way. Oh, you go. Okay.
So back to the list here. I have Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. Not as good as the first Revenge of the Nerds. Although Revenge of the Nerds 2 is probably one that is more likely a movie that can be made today than the original Revenge of the Nerds is.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds 2 was like PG-13 versus the first one, which was R. But there's something about it. I don't know. I think it's the scene at the end where Ogre becomes one of the nerds.
After they perform, you know, their musical.
Yeah, their typical
They
music.
look like Devo.
But yeah, it's still a funny movie.
And you have the training of Booger.
Yeah. What if CAT really spelled dog? That's deep Ogre, really deep. Caddyshack is on the list. Now I didn't know. It's been a while since I've seen Caddyshack 2. It was
a summer movie?
It was on.
Yes.
I looked up like best summer films, summer vacation films,
Because the caddies were off of school and working as
Mhm.
caddies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but I just thought of one I need to add to the list. But you go ahead. You talk of the caddies and the shack.
Caddyshack again is another one I feel like we've talked about in depth before. Because I remember talking about the Bill Murray scene. Oh, I think we did the episode on like ad-lib scenes or something.
Probably.
That's where we talked about it. But Caddyshack, definitely a classic. And not one that I really recognized as a summer film until I read it on. I found this on the list. I want to say it was on ScreenRant.com, where it was like a list of the best summer films. Next one I have on the list. Next one I have on the list is The Sandlot.
They're killing me, Smalls.
Killing me. Well, Sandlot's another like one where like if it's on, I'm gonna watch it just because it's such a movie that kind of reminds me of my youth a little bit. Even though I didn't grow up in the '60s, I did grow up in a similar like kind of like thing where like my friends and I would get together and play baseball all the time in the summertime. Another like pretty quotable movie, like You're Killing Me, Smalls, The Beast. Or I like Squints. He's my favorite character, Squints Polydorus, who basically sexually assaults the lifeguard and then marries her later.
Amy Peppercorn.
Amy Peppercorn.
A lot of these movies are gonna overlap with our coming of age movies.
Yeah, probably. I think a lot of these movies overlap with a lot of different lists from time to time. Oh, I thought of a new topic earlier, and I don't remember what it was now. I gotta try to remember what it was so I can put it on.
And the one you Facebooked me?
No, it was something else. No, that one I put on the list already, but I had an idea earlier and I forgot what it was. Okay. Next one on the list is one from I had already had it on the list, but it was also suggested by Bill Von Viegel on Facebook, and that is Summer Rental. Summer Rental is a classic John Candy film. It's probably the John Candy film that put John Candy on the map as a film actor.
Yep.
It was very early.
Look at these. Do these look real?
Yeah, that's like.
Oh my God! Will you just tell her they look real? Feel them.
And it's like Summer Rental is a great film. It's a funny film, but it's probably for that scene alone a film that wouldn't get made nowadays.
Right.
I feel like it'd be like so much tamer. Now, the next 4 on the list were all ones that you guys added. I did the first 7 here, and I'm really mad at myself for not putting number 8 on the list. I can't believe I forgot this movie.
Man, it was on the other day, and I was like, yes, how did I forget this?
I want to watch it now because I forgot about it. And I'm like, God damn it. And I'm angry at myself because I must have seen this movie 100 fucking times. Summer School.
Yeah, Summer School.
Starring Mark Harmon.
Yeah.
Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley, back when she was, half of Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
Courtney
Courtney Thorne Smith.
Very, very young Courtney Thorne Smith.
I mean, when she wasn't Baby Mammoth?
No, when she wasn't the Baby Mammoth on Masked Singer, no.
Baby Mammoth?
Shawnee Smith.
And then even some of like the other actors. There's the Italian actress in it. I don't know her name, but she plays a lot of vagina.
She was very big in the 80s. Yeah, she was very, very big in the 80s.
Lot of vagina.
She plays a lot of vagina. Summer School, grief. That friggin' iconic scene where they do the horror thing to get rid of the substitute teacher.
To get rid of the substitute.
And then he's up to the beach and they all got all the blood and guts all over them. And he's like, how can I say no to these cute faces?
And how they take the test, and the guy that does the best is the one that left to go to the bathroom at the very beginning of the movie.
The guy that got stuck in the bathroom for 6 weeks got a 90.
You're in this class? Went to the bathroom. What happened? My zipper got stuck.
I like when he's giving him the scores in the office, and Chainsaw gets like a 65, and the friend gets a 70, and he's like, "You passed and I failed, you asshole." He's like, "I'll take it again. I can fail. I promise." Yeah, that's such a funny movie, man. Funny movie. So implausible though that he gets his tenure. At the end.
They were supposed to go to Hawaii, and he's
Yeah.
like, "No, I have to stay."
But it's like so unless they just really do things differently in those California school systems, that's so implausible. That he got his tenure. Who added Meatballs?
I did.
Okay, why don't you talk about it then?
Well, Meatballs is Bill Murray is the camp counselor that he likes to pull pranks to these women. It's Bill Murray being Bill Murray.
Yeah, and it's 1979, so it's also
it's his first role. It's actually his first role.
Yeah, it's
major role.
1979, so it's basically a PG rated film according to 70 standards.
It would be like an R today.
Yeah. He's 17. Yeah, this is Murray coming off of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. So if you could just think of Bill Murray being a camp counselor, you know what this movie's about.
Here's the thing: I've seen Meatballs, and I've seen Meatballs 2, and I have a vague recollection of Meatballs because I think I've seen Meatballs 2 much more recently than Meatballs. And Meatballs 2 is such a weird film. I'm pretty sure there's like an alien in Meatballs 2.
That's what I was going to say. Wasn't there an alien in one of these? And a very bad CGI, not CGI, but special effects? Yeah,
he's a puppet alien. His name is Meathead. I'm looking at the synopsis now. So yeah, there's an alien in the second one. Like that's how weird the second one is. And apparently there's 4 of them. I didn't even realize there was a 3 and 4. But it's been a long time since I saw the first one, man. Heavyweights is Kevin. Is that your suggestion?
No, that's mine too.
Yours is too. Go ahead.
Heavyweights, another camp movie. A camp, a camp for heavy kids.
My people.
It's 1995. It stars the camp counselor that tries to get them to lose weight is Ben Stiller,
and
they just revolt against him pretty much.
So here's the thing, like I think we talked about this a little bit on the Twins episode because it came out the same year as a movie called Camp Nowhere.
Okay.
So they're both like summertime movies that take place at camps where kids are involved. So they're it's a twin film in that respect, but it's different from Camp Nowhere, and Camp Nowhere wasn't a fat camp; it was just a regular like summer camp.
And this one's Disney, so it's more PG.
Yeah, so it's a hard PG.
It's a hard PG.
It's a gentleman's PG. Plump kids are lured into joining a posh fat camp where the promise of quick weight loss and good times, only to find that the facility is a woodland hellhole run by a psycho ex-fitness instructor. So it's basically Ben Stiller playing White Goodman before he ever did Dodgeball.
Yes, pretty much.
Which I watched the other day, Dodgeball. And then the last one Kevin just added recently, as of a minute ago, One Crazy Summer.
One Crazy Summer. It was one of those young John Cusack movies, you know, right up there with Better Off Dead and others, Say Anything and whatnot. So this is John Cusack playing a basketball kid. You know, his name's Hoops McCain, and what he tries to do over the summer, he's spending the summer in Nantucket, and him and his friends try to help out Demi Moore, who is a struggling musician, and her family's property is in danger of being taken over by property developers. So they try to help her out, and I'm trying to remember what he has to do to help her. I'm sure there's something to it.
Movie all stars Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yes.
Curtis Armstrong, best known as Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. Another movie starring John Matuzak, who's best known as Sloth from The Goonies.
Hey, you guys. That's a summer movie.
Is The Goonies a summer movie?
It is a summer movie, yes.
It's a summer movie, right?
Yeah.
Takes place in the summertime, I want to believe. I don't know. It takes place in upstate Washington or something, or something like that. So it's like always raining.
Astoria,
yeah. Okay, so our next list here is summer films in the horror/drama category. And I kind of kept it small here. There's a lot of movies, but I tried to not to go too crazy with this. So the first one is Friday the 13th. You can probably say the entire franchise for the most part. But the original film,
Camp Crystal Lake,
where Jason's mother is the killer, not Jason Voorhees.
Right.
A lot of people forget. It was a summertime film, took place in a summer camp, and started that whole horror movie trope where if the teenage kids are having sex, you can expect them to die. Well, that's Jaws. That's the next one. Jaws is number 2, the movie that originated the idea of the summer blockbuster. And I said we weren't including summer blockbusters on this list, but you have to include Jaws because it's not just a summer blockbuster, but it is a summer vacation flick. It's all about a shark terrorizing people at a beach resort. And I know we've talked about that in depth on the Steven Spielberg episode.
In depth, yes.
In depth. So if you want to know more about Jaws, the trivia, the backstory, some funny stories about Bruce the shark, which kept breaking down on him because he was animatronic. Listen to our Spielberg episode from way back when. It was season 1 finale.
We also
episode 27.
We also probably talked about it during our Shark Week episode.
We did. So we've talked about Jaws extensively. We haven't really talked that extensively about Dirty Dancing.
And there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for it. None of the three of us really like it.
But we want to put Baby in the corner.
No, I don't want to put Baby in the corner. Nobody puts Baby in the corner. But
but we did put a watermelon on her
head. I do feel like I felt like I had to include it on this list for people who are fans of the film, and would be angry if we did not include it as a best summer film entry.
At least we did not put it in the misses.
Yeah. Number 4, I put it on the list because I just watched this the other day too.
I could have been having a barbecue.
I haven't watched it in such a long time. I'm like, I gotta watch this, and then we decided to do this episode, and I was like, well, that's apropos. Independence Day.
What's that smell?
Which is only a summer movie for the fact that the war with the aliens happens on July 4th. It'll no longer be an American holiday. It'll be the day that the world stood up and said, we will not go down without a fight.
We will not go quietly into the night.
We will survive. Today will be our Independence Day.
I can fly. I'm a pilot.
I just
Kill the second one.
I just freed myself from the rest of my daiquiri. I just drank on my own a pitcher of
Are you
highly,
going to get through the list?
highly rum-filled daiquiris.
Rum-tastic.
Yes. So the next one on the list was suggested by Terrell Crouch on Facebook, but I actually had it on the list already because I know it freaks Kevin out. And that film is
God, it's
Midsummer.
such a freaky movie.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Midsummer.
Oh, you're not. Oh.
Midsummer came out in 2019, so it's a recent film.
Yeah,
It's a hard.
Florence Pugh.
It stars Florence Pugh. It's one of her like first major roles.
Mhm.
She's great in it. There's really not many other people in here that I recognize.
No.
The movie takes place in Northern Europe, like up in like the Scandinavian area. So there's a lot of like Scandinavian actors in the film.
Okay.
Florence Pugh is the only like really recognizable person.
They don't last very long.
No, it's about a couple who travels to Northern Europe to visit a rural hometown's fabled Swedish midsummer festival. What begins as an idyllic retreat quickly devolves into an increasingly violent and bizarre competition at the hands of a pagan cult. So it's like the Wicker Man, only good.
Not the bees.
The bees here's that whole bear scene.
Yeah, that's messed up. The bear scene's messed up. The guy hanging above the other thing all dead is messed up.
There's that really creepy smile on her face at the end when they got her in the big flower thing.
Yeah.
For our listeners, the reason I'm laughing was the face that Kevin made about that bear.
The whole thing's messed up. It's messed up. It's a messed up
really
movie.
messed up, but it's still a good movie. And the reason I'm fascinated by the film is because it's a daytime horror. Like most of the horrific stuff happens in the daytime, and you don't see that very often in a horror film.
Most of the horrific stuff is like not even like surprises. It's like, yeah, we're gonna do this right now. This is gonna happen right now, and it's like gory to like you wouldn't believe.
So it's time to sew this man into the body of a bear.
Yeah,
kind of like it's like
it's time to crush this guy's head.
Yeah,
we pushed him off the cliff. He's not dead yet. Now we must kill him with rocks.
It's very like in your face, but it's surprising though that it is very like a very brightly lit horror film that you don't see very often.
Wow.
So yeah, if you haven't seen Midsummer, I highly recommend Midsummer.
Kevin, do you?
Kevin doesn't.
I do not.
Kevin is not as endeared to like horror films as I am. Like I love horror films. I don't care. I'll watch anything.
I'm fine with suspense and I'm fine with thrillers. I just don't need to see the gore.
Kevin is not a fan of gore. He's not. Kevin has trouble with Tarantino films.
It doesn't bother me, but it's more the gore for gore's sake. No, thank you.
It's not a gore for gore's sake film. It does have a decent plot. It is a pretty well reviewed film. It's not like you're watching a torture porn film like.
No,
like
it's not like today's horror films, which is
no. It's not like I could have put Hostel on this list because that takes place in the summertime, but I didn't because it's a torture porn film and I'm not very fond of those kind of films.
Right.
But Midsummer actually has some like depth to it and some good performances.
Okay.
Plus, I love Florence Pugh. Like she's
we know,
and she's great, and American Graffiti we talked about last episode with Harrison Ford, so I don't think we have to get into that too much. But it is definitely a summertime flick. Stand By Me.
We talked about in our coming of age.
Talk about our coming of age episode, but I did have to point out that you had said, Kev, you don't see often those summertime flicks that don't take place on like the beach or whatever, and this is one of those because this is all about kids going on
an adventure.
An adventure.
They want to see a dead body
through the woods during the summertime in a little town in Maine, and
sick balls.
Yeah,
great, dead body.
Great performances. The debut for a lot of young actors like Will Wheaton, Gary O'Connell. You get some young Kiefer Sutherland in that film.
River Phoenix.
It's one of Stephen King's best stories.
One of the Coreys.
One of the
Feldman.
Fat Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell.
Fat Jerry O'Connell. A very quick cameo from John Cusack.
Yep.
He plays the older brother. It's Stand By Me is a classic, and I feel like if you're a child of the 80s and 90s like we are, you've seen Stand By Me.
Yeah.
And if you're not a child of the 80s and 90s and you've never seen Stand By Me, you need to Stand By Me. Stand By Me.
And Kevin Costner plays the dead body. No, that was the Big Chill.
That's Big Chill. I get the Big Chill mixed up with Stand By Me.
That was close.
It was somebody played a dead body, and
That body don't even look like Kevin Costner. That's awesome.
Neither did O'Connell look like O'Connell in that movie.
Who added I Know What You Did Last Summer?
I did.
I half-heartedly think that probably should be on the miss list.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
It's one of those like 90s, here are the hot young actors film.
Yeah.
Because you had Ryan Phillippe, you had Sarah Michelle Gellar, you had Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, Prince Jr. What's his name? Freddie Prince Jr.
So it's like, yeah, it's one of those films. And I remember it's one of the movies that Katie and I saw together on one of our like first dates together.
And it did have a nice horror into it. Was it?
It wasn't weird. It
was more suspenseful than
it was riding the Scream train.
I was just about to say that. It was like kind of riding on the coattails of Scream.
Yeah.
Because there were other films that came out too around the same time that followed that sort of like Scream meta horror kind of thing.
That were worse.
You had I Know What You Did Last Summer. You had like Final Destination came out around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Although that's actually a pretty good horror film.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of it was like the revival of the teen horror film.
Right.
And then Point Break.
That's the endless summer.
The endless summer. Johnny Utah.
Give me two.
Played by Keanu Reeves. So if I had to choose between two Patrick Swayze's movies, and those choices were Point Break and Dirty Dancing, I definitely would take Point Break.
Right. You choose Ghost.
You choose Ghost. Now, would you choose Ghost? Would you choose Ghost over Roadhouse?
Oh God, no. Pain don't hurt.
Pain don't hurt. You at least gotta watch the scene where he rips a dude's Adam's apple out. Point Break.
Okay. Now here's the question: would you watch Roadhouse or Red Dawn?
Oh, I watch Red Dawn.
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn's awesome. Wolverines. I'd be remiss in asking this though: is it the Point Break with Swayze we're talking about, or the remake of Point Break?
No, with Swayze. Come on now.
Wait, no, I'd be remiss in asking this. Are we talking about the Patrick Swayze Red Dawn, or are we talking about the remake?
About the Chris Hemsworth one?
I've seen part of the Chris Hemsworth one.
When I think of Point
Break,
Break,
when he got shot, I'm like, what the?
Point Break. Point Break's been kind of like tainted for me a little bit though because of Hot Fuzz with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Because there's a scene in there where Nick Frost says to Simon Pegg, as a cop in the city, you probably saw a lot of action. Have you ever like laid on the ground and held your guns up in the air and fired them into the sky while screaming, ah? He's like, no, real policemen don't do that. And then at the end of the film, he does it. And it's like, yes. Hot Fuzz on Hulu right now. I might have to watch that again. Summer misses. We'll go through these quick because I don't really want to talk about bad films right now. Vegas Vacation.
Enough said.
It was.
I'm your damn tour guide. This is the damn tour.
It tried to play up the popularity of the Cousin Eddie character from Christmas Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But it really wasn't anything great. Summer Catch. This movie starred Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jessica Biel.
That's enough to know.
Is he the baseball player in that one?
He's a baseball player, minor league prospect with the chance to go to the majors, but he falls in love with Jessica Biel.
And she ruins his life.
And the father doesn't want him to be with her, and she wants to be with him. And then,
are you talking Bill Durham?
No, it's like the poor man's Bull Durham. All I remember from that movie, all I really remember from that movie is just a scene where Jessica Biel walks out of a pool in a red bikini, and it's very reminiscent of like this. It's very reminiscent of the scene from like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, minus the nudity, because it's like a PG film. And I remember it's a bad movie when that particular scene of her coming out of the pool in the bikini is played heavily in the trailer of the film and in the marketing. It's like, we don't have a great film here, but maybe if we show enough of Jessica Biel's body, the teenage boys will come out to watch it. And it wasn't worth it. Next film is Gone Fishing. This is Joe Pesci and Danny Glover.
Yeah.
This
I
is
forgot all about this one.
This is Joe Pesci coming off of an Oscar. It is.
I almost thought that this was Up a Creek. Wasn't there, or Without a Paddle?
Yeah,
There was one called Without a Paddle.
A Paddle, which is also a summer vacation movie. That one starred. That's funny.
Seth Green.
It's funny because that one starred Daniel Stern, who was in Home Alone with Joe Pesci. So they both they had a 6 degree of separation of bad summer vacation films.
We missed a good summer movie.
What's that?
City Slickers.
No, is that a summer film?
I didn't think that was. I knew that was him being sent away for his birthday or something. But
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of like, you could assume it's like summer maybe because they're driving the cattle across the plains.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like nebulous as to like what time of year it is. You know, I mean, we could kind of say it's like an honorable mention because I'm not sure if it's actually summer or not.
Yeah.
From Gone Fishing, we go to another fish film, Jaws: The Revenge.
Why?
This is the 4th film in the Jaws series.
They should have stopped at 2.
It's the film where I was telling Katie about this the other day because she's never heard of it, and I was like, Jaws: The Revenge. It's about like a shark that was like I think it's like the offspring of the shark that was killed in the first film, and the shark is deliberately targeting Chief Brody's widow and her family in search of revenge.
they have that kind of memory.
Yeah, and it's like, and she goes, "You mean Sharknado?"
And then there's Michael Caine going, "No, we have to go. It's not good here."
Michael Caine is Hoagie. Michael Caine was asked why he did this movie, and he said, it bought my house.
It bought my house.
He's not ashamed to say he did the movie for money.
It bought my house.
Next one on the list is a Kevin favorite, Mac and Me.
Mac and Me's great.
Mac and Me is a pale ripoff of E.T.
It wasn't even going to be called Mac and Me until McDonald's sponsored the entire thing.
Yeah, right. Because it's like a really.
It is a McDonald's produced movie.
It is an hour and 39 McDonald's commercial. Hour and 39 minute McDonald's commercial.
It's a big Mac and Me.
The best part of the film, and the only reason it's so funny, is because it's a running joke from Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Yeah, every time he's on Conan.
Every time Paul Rudd appeared on the Conan O'Brien show to promote a movie, they would cut to the clip of his movie, and instead of the movie promotion, it would be the same scene from Mac and Me every time he came on the Conan O'Brien show. And it's a scene where the kid in the wheelchair rolls off a cliff into a lake.
And when it gets into the water, the alien
pops up and goes. And Conan always would be like, every time I think you're not going to do it, and you do it, and I get fooled every single time.
And I love that, like they tried to make the alien, the ET-esque alien, the little one, the cute one, and then you take a look at his family, and they're horrifying. They are disturbing. You saw them on the street, you'd run over them.
Say it's a poor man's ET.
The alien is not very well developed special effects.
No, it's a rubber suit.
I'm gonna say this with all heart and all sincerity right now. What the fuck is Ping Pong Summer?
Ping Pong Summer. Yeah, what the hell is Ping Pong Summer?
Ping Pong Summer came out not long ago. But it was 2014. Really, yeah, 2014. Poorly done, but it has so many big names in it for being a shitty movie. It's got a lot of big names. It's got Leah Thompson. It's got
Judah Friedlander, Amy Sedaris, John Hannah, Susan Sarandon.
It has all his crushes that are now, geriatric.
I've never heard of this movie. It's not even rated. It's an unrated film. That means it didn't have a theatrical release.
No, I don't think it did. I think it was just on video. But the reason why I put it on, it takes place in the 80s in Ocean City, Maryland, which is my youth. That is my summer, pretty much from the point I was like 8 all the way through into like my 40s.
And
Ocean City,
you and
Maryland.
I have spent a few summers in the Ocean
We
City
have,
together.
we
Yeah.
have, and they've all been great summers, very
Mhm. A lot
fun.
of fun.
But this is just about a kid who's down there, and the acting is so bad. Yeah, the kids. He desperately wants to be a hip hop. What is it? The kids who break dancer. He wants to be a break dancer. The whole thing with cardboard and Michael Jackson red leather jacket and the whole 9 yards. But he also, the way to dominate the summers to be really good at ping pong. It's
says
so
a
bad.
family vacation during the summer of '85 changes everything for a teenage boy obsessed with ping pong.
Ping pong. Or like they say in China, ping pong.
So it's a bad film when the person who wrote it and directed it also has family members in the film. Written and directed by Michael Tully, and playing small roles in the film are Mary Ann Tully and Frank Tully.
Oh, so this is not a Francis Ford Coppola movie.
No, it's not. No. It's not Coppola. It's not Scorsese. It's not even Ed Wood. I almost want to watch it now just because of my need,
Glutton for punishment.
Need to punish myself.
Dude, I think you'll laugh your way through the movie.
I have to find it first, I guess. And the last one is Caddyshack 2.
The only thing.
Search for more money.
Yeah, exactly.
The only good thing about Caddyshack 2 was the gopher.
They couldn't get Rodney Dangerfield back for it, so they got Jackie Mason instead.
They couldn't get Bill Murray, so they got Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, it's pale comparison.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mike, do you have any beer wisdom for us this evening?
I do. Beer wisdom. If your doctor tells you to watch your drinking, find a tap room with a mirror.
Don't most tap rooms have mirrors like behind the bar?
They do. It makes it look like there's more booze in there than there is.
Yeah, I thought the point was because people like to watch themselves drinking, just like people like to watch themselves working out at the gym. So, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight for episode 61, Summertime Cinema. We are going to be taking a break next week as Mike is going to be away on vacation.
Yay!
Hopefully
he's going to that Swedish place, right?
But what I will be doing is while I'm down in Williamsburg, we'll be going to Busch Gardens during their Food and Wine Festival. So I will let you know how the drinks are when I get back.
Are you going to be hitting Devil's Backbone while you're down there?
I'll see if it's close. If not, I'll be picking up some of Devil's Backbone to bring it up here.
So Mike will be away on vacation next week. So we're going to take a little hiatus, so 1 week break. I'm probably going to need it to recover from all the daiquiri I drank tonight. And by daiquiri, I mean the rum with some strawberries in it.
Why's the rum gone?
Why is the rum always gone?
Got that much left in the bottle. But I might drop a couple mini pods next week, depending on whether or not I'm able to get out and see some of the movies that I want to see. And by get out and see the movies I want to see, I mean watch them for free on torrent sites. So thanks again for joining us tonight for episode 61. Episode 62 will be in roughly 2 weeks from today. It is close to Memorial Day when we will be recording episode 62. So we are going to be doing a salute to World War. Oh my God, I'm so fucking hammered.
Whoa, that's it.
We are going to be doing a salute to World War II films in 2 weeks for episode 62, our Memorial Day spectacular. Thanks for joining us here at the crossroads of pickled and fermented.
I'm definitely pickled.
On the pickled side than I am the fermented side right now. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.